if you are one of those who finds him or herself defending the school or the police who had 14-year-old Ahmed Muhammad arrested and taken from his school in handcuffs for bringing a clock to school, then I would suggest that you take a few minutes and engage in some serious, honest self-reflection, because I fear it's very possible that you are a huge fucking asshole.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I guess I'm an asshole for thinking it reasonable that some people working in a high school in the middle of buttfuck Texas might think this was a bomb. I mean, it totally looks like a clock, right, guys? And to suggest that it looks like anything else is just crazy talk. I mean, kind of like saying that this gun is a Pop-Tart when it's clearly a gun, semi-auto gun that can kill 100 people with one shot. Looks like this bearded asshole is at it again, folks. I almost dread the level of stupid this is going to descend into.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, and I can't imagine you're watching this video and you don't know what I'm talking about, Ahmed Muhammad is a 14-year-old high school freshman living in Irving, Texas. He and his family are immigrants from the Sudan. They are dark-skinned. They are Muslims. And, of course,
they couldn't possibly be guilty of anything, right?
When he brought a clock to school, a clock that he made himself or disassembled and reassembled himself or whatever he did to it, and I'll get into that in a minute. One of his teachers was troubled by it, and it was brought to the attention of the staff, and the police were called, and Ahmed was arrested and taken from his school in handcuffs under suspicion of having made a hoax bomb. Now, I don't know how anyone could have come to the conclusion that Ahmed intended to make a hoax bomb.
Yes, the injustice, the horror. How could anyone have mistaken this for anything but a clock? It totally looks like a clock, right, guys? How could anyone have ever thought that his intention was to make it look like a bomb when it totally doesn't look like a bomb? I mean, all clocks come in cases like that, guys, and to say it looks anything like a bomb is just crazy talk.
But it gets worse. The story last week, when I first read about this, was, oh my God, look what happened to this poor kid, isn't this awful? But over the weekend, a few internet know-it-alls decided to take it upon themselves to really examine the clock that Ahmed brought into school and do a little bit of reverse engineering and figure out that, hey, he says in the media and he says in his various public statements that he invented this clock, but this looks like he just disassembled a pre-made clock and just put its guts into a different container. Well, he didn't invent anything. All he did was disassemble and reassemble something. He said he invented it. I smell hoax. A 14-year-old kid says he invents something that it turns out he maybe didn't invent. He just took it apart and put it back together in a different container. Therefore, it's a hoax.
Yeah. Because it was pretty obvious that it was clock parts in a pencil case that had been pulled out of an existing clock. Now, going to school with that and passing it off as something you invented, though I don't ever recall him or anyone else in the media saying that he invented it, more like he built it, would be a hoax in and of itself. In fact, that would be the textbook definition of a hoax, at the very least to convince people that he built something that he really didn't. Of course, this all begs the question, why would one take parts out of an old alarm clock and put them in a pencil case to take to show and tell at school? And yes, I know, it wasn't really show and tell. I'm just using that as an expression. Unless he's lived under a rock his whole life, he had to know what that looked like. I'm sorry, but just like any other person, he doesn't get a free pass with me just because of religion. You bearded mongoloid muppet.
And then people jumped on that and took it even further and said, well, maybe his father. His father's a Muslim activist, you know. His father's one of them agitators. He's a troublemaker. He's always making trouble in that town where they live. Maybe his father put him up to it, hoping that some kind of controversy would erupt. Yes, because if that's what happened, that would surely absolve us of any charges of Islamophobia, not to mention the anti-Muslim bigotry binge that we have been on since 9/11/2001 in this country, barely pausing to take a breath the entire time.
Well, you know, if we all really were guilty of some kind of bigotry or racism or whatever else the fuck you think that we're guilty of, then yeah, it kind of would absolve us if he really did put his kid up to it. That being said, though, I just love how people like Steve here act like we've been nothing but Muslim-hating bigot Nazis since 9/11 and do nothing but hate the Muslims. I mean, to hear people like this guy tell it, all the Muslims are getting is sent to death camps and gas chambers, instead of getting invites to Facebook headquarters, the White House, and scholarships from MIT, just for putting some clock parts in a pencil case. I wonder, if I threw some clock parts in a case like that and sent it to the White House, what kind of invites would I get as a white atheist? I doubt it'd be Facebook headquarters in the White House. Probably more like Leavenworth or Gitmo.
Friday night on his show on HBO, Bill Maher tried to talk out of both sides of his mouth on the issues.
You mean like how you talk outside of both sides of your mouth when you defend politically correct social justice warriors? You know what's really depressing, though, about this? Is that in all likelihood, Bill Maher himself won't actually see what you're about to say and get to respond to it. Please, God. Please, if you are really real and you are really there, please, oh, please let Bill Maher see this bearded mongoloid muppet is saying about him and respond to it in this Friday's episode of Real Time. I can't promise that it'll make me believe in you, but it would be a good start on your part and would be more hilarious than my response.
Saying that, well, sure, the kid deserves an apology. He shouldn't have been treated that way. But then again, maybe the school didn't act so unreasonably after all, because that thing he made sure does look like a bomb to me. And as if that wasn't ignorant enough, Maher goes on to say on that show, you know, I know that he's young, but people his age who are Muslims have blown themselves up before. And he even says, over the last 30 years, it's been one culture that has been blowing shit up over and over again. Ask someone in Saudi Arabia what that one culture might be. Ask someone in Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran.
Oh, for fuck's sake, just stop. Just stop. You know, when I called you a bearded mongoloid muppet, that was an understatement. There's no words for the level of stupid this has reached. First the fuck off. Don't act like there wasn't a reason we weren't in Afghanistan blowing shit up. And by the way, unlike the people we were looking for, we weren't trying to blow up innocent civilians. Are you really this fucking dense? By the way, we've never fought a war against Saudi Arabia either, you twat. Matter of fact, who the fuck do you think was providing the oil to fuel the tanks and planes? Sure the fuck wasn't Europe. I mean, this attitude of acting like you don't understand why people think that Muslims blow shit up is just amazing, even for a mongoloid like yourself. Though to be honest, I think calling you a mongoloid might actually be an insult to mongoloids, as even they're smart enough to see the fucking explosions right in front of their fucking face. This stupid has just gotten to be too much for me to keep doing this video. If you guys watching want to watch the rest of this abortion, there's a link in the description down below, as well as a link to the clip he's talking about with Bill Maher, as I do think his assessment was pretty damn spot on. I am Spike Chartel, son of the intergalactic pizza cat. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you really like this video, make sure to share it with as many people as you can, as my channel numbers are kind of pathetic and I could really use all the help I can get. On that note, I do have other videos, and if you like those and this one as well, it stands to reason that you'll like future videos, so you should just go ahead and hit that subscribe button since you're here anyway. As always, have a nice day, and may the pounce be with you.